What it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Today we're talking about Boss 1-6. I know we kind of skipped this one. Here's the team that I'm using, okay? Now, the answer to this is you basically need a decent Earth team. And, well, this is the team I'm using. Yuri is available right now for your consumption. You could just acquire him currently through the current events, the current banners. I wouldn't recommend chasing him if you don't have him. Any Earth team you have, or Earth unit you have, will do just fine because Aisha, if you have her, will handle business. Notice mine is +1. Wait till you see what she does when we get in here. It's pretty awesome. And we're actually using Goblin Slayer for a debuff. So now we're using Goblin Slayer only actually for a physical debuff. The fact that he does, other debuffs is completely irrelevant. So, while he is max limit broken, it doesn't matter. We're only using him for his 30% physical debuff. There's plenty of other units we could use, in fact. Just so happens he's the one I'm using at the moment. In fact, if recollection serves, I think there's another unit we could use, but it's just not striking me at the moment. I think there's, the eyes that reduces... There's the eyes that reduces guard rate too, but she's actually an AoE, not a single target. So he's who we're going to use right now, and he's going to be extremely effective. Other than that, the rest of this team should look very, very familiar. We've got OG Haruhime, and actually the assist that I have on her is Ares. That's to remove the penetration rate. Pretty easy stuff. We have Line, of course, because she's going to come into the 33% SA gauge. It's going to be really important. I have the Hestia that debuffs Earth on him, and the reason she's max limit broken is because she's a free-to-play unit, so she's very easily attainable. Of course, Aisha is going to be our main hitter, and that's why I have Artemis on her. If you do not have Artemis, just use anybody. Whoever has your highest physical stat, you'll see when we get in here. You don't need Artemis. All you need is Aisha and a decent weapon. Casino Seer needs no introduction, and while we are using her on this banner, she is getting replaced in literally a matter of hours from the release of this video. So in like 8 hours from the time this video releases, you're going to have a new unit that's going to replace her. She's utterly irrelevant. The new incoming Finn, max limit break him, you'll use him over her all day long. Mark my words on that one. If you can't do this right now, hit the banner tonight. Probably be able to do it before these go away. Just saying. He's 33% to all allies, whereas this guy is, this gal, or however she identifies, Freya in disguise, is 100% just to Winter Haruhime. So, depending on how you see it, it could be better, could be roughly the same. Either way, she's the one we're using right now. So, when Line, after turn 1 leaves, that's when Goblin Slayer comes in, debuffs physical attack. Then, we have the Aina on him, that will then, I don't remember if she's the buff or the debuff. I think she's the debuff for earth damage. Because it's her and the Hestia I have over here. One's the buff, one's the debuff. I don't remember which one's which. It's irrelevant. Just remember you have to debuff and buff earth damage. And then Yuri comes in. And when Yuri comes in, we have the single target Hestia. Let's jump in here and go ahead and do this. There's a big white speck right here. It's suddenly bothering me. Oh! I'm going to go ahead and back out and redo this because for whatever reason, auto attack was on and they didn't give me much reaction time. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, we're going to blow a potato snack on this. It is what it is. I'm not losing sleep over that, and I apologize about that little... It's going to drive me crazy. Alright. Anyway, no time to waste. Let's get in here, ignoring that, and moving on. 33% of Say Gauge charge. Akane for the debuff. We're going to buff with Aisha. Aisha has an interesting caveat to all this, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. We're going to basically do all our defensive buffs and the attack buff with Aisha. Okay? On this turn, I'm going to go ahead and do the 30% SA Gauge Recharge. I'm going to go ahead and do Yosuga. I'm going to do Snow Silver. That is going to be fairly important. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do Dancing Snow. Yeah. I'm going to do Snow Silver. We're going to use Rock Biter a lot instead of the main attack from Aisha. And that's because once we get her SA off, she's just going to destroy this in very amazing and effective ways. Okay? 33 SA Gauge Recharge. And this is going to remove the strength buff that Yuri has on him. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be important. We need to do that. That's going to give us the opportunity to use Snow Silver, which gives us the a little bit, basically an MP regen buff, and of course Yosuga to replicate all of the buffs that we've got. Boom! Easy peasy. Let's move on with life. Now, Earth is not the most effective here, is the interesting factoid that I should mention before we go further. Really dark is. So if you have a really good dark unit, I would recommend using that here. The reason that I don't is because I know you guys don't like to see Max Limit Broken units in action, because a lot of you guys don't have Max Limit Broken units. We're only down 5% on Earth, because Earth does have a buff here. So the Earth is not actually the preference. I completely forgot about this when I was setting up this video, and so I should have mentioned this before, but if you're actually setting this up, you really want to go in here with a dark team. Problem is, all of my good dark units are Max Limit Broken, and I want to show you a team that isn't, but still is effective and still works. Alright? Now, once again, we're not going in here to S-Clear. We're just going in here to win. That's it. So we don't care how long this takes. It can take 50 turns for all that matters. All we're in here to do is win this. So, here we go. If you want to see how to S-Clear it, I made a dark team that S-Clears all of this. And legit, they did everything except for 2 in the video. And I actually just were doing a little bit of CP levels and Weapon Ascension. They actually beat those last 2 as well. So just know that that is the case here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a big buff here for him. That is going to buff his damage. And that's going to help. I don't need to do Rock Biter on this turn, but I will. You know what? I'm going to go and do Geosurge. Geosurge won't hurt anything. The one thing you want to be careful with Geosurge, this move hits really, really hard. It actually hits about as hard as an SA, but you've got a rebuff after it. And that's fine. We're not worried about it. I haven't done any major buffs yet, so we're going to be good. So I'm going to go ahead and do Geosurge on this turn, and then next turn we're going to buff again with her. So let's go ahead and do Snow Silver here. Instinct will give him the Earth buff, and of course Yosuga will replicate all that. Let's move on. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Now, on this turn, I'm going to go back and do Rock Biter. And then I'm going to do the SA with Haruhime. Now, OG Haruhime is then going to give us that 100% strength buff. That 100% strength buff is going to be really, really, really important. We don't want to squander that. We really do not want to squander that. We want to take very good care of that buff. Basically, if we ever use Geosurge, we are going to lose that 100% strength buff from Haruhime. So, we're basically going to use Rock Biter a whole bunch, and then spam SAs, and our final turn is going to do Geosurge. You'll see. You'll see how this works out. Woven Lore is going to go ahead and reduce the earth resistance and guard rate 40%, and you can kind of see how this unit is just going to fall apart at the seams. Snow Silver, of course, that is going to give us the MP regen, so we can do all of this, and let's keep going. Now, once again, if you do not have Winter Haruhime, main thing Winter Haruhime is really doing here is a big defensive buff at the beginning. There are other units you could use. In fact, for all this really matters, you could theoretically use the the Thunder Argonaut that just came to the game. He would be able to give them a 30% buff, whereas the Winter Arahime gives a 33% buff. You wouldn't have quite the key arrangement that we have now, but if I'm completely honest here, it's not that important. You're rebuffing anyway. It would just mean you'd rebuff a little more often rather than, you know, having the key quite in the favorable situation that we do. All right. So this turn, we're going to do Tribe Alpha, and Yuri's basically going to spam that for the rest of the turn. On this turn, I'm going to bring Yosuga back. In fact, I'm not going to do Sheikah yet. Let's see. Debuffs are 3. I can actually do it, I think. 2. Yeah, I'm going to do Sheikah because we will have to then do Yosuga 100% on the next turn, and we cannot fail to do that. But that is going to give us the opportunity to... basically going to give us the opportunity to do a lot more counter damage. So here's Yosuga. That is going to make sure that everything... See, we have some buffs that are going to fall off. The strength and magic buff is going to fall if we don't do this. So we got to be careful with that. On this turn, I'm going to do a special arts with Aisha. Now, we're only going to do 2 special arts, and then we're going to do a Geosurge. I believe that's then going to wreck this out. So it's not quite going to be an S-Clear, but it's going to be pretty damn close. This is an Ultra Earth physical attack, 80% per each self-strength buff, plus single target damage plus 25%. So that means that our single target damage, if I think that's... yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, there we go. So there's no single target damage on here. So on top of all these other debuffs, we're going to add single target damage debuff. So, and she's going to add 80% damage to what she is already doing. In fact, you know what? He just buffed, so I'm going to go ahead and do Rock Biter, remove that in this turn, and then I'll do an SA on the next turn. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to go one turn out before I do the first SA with Aisha. Everything's going to end in the same amount of time. It's just I want to get rid of that buff so we don't risk any real damage. Not that I think he can honestly damage us, but why play? There's no reason to risk it. Play it safe on this one. And once again, our goal isn't an S-Clear. Our goal is just a clear in general. So now we'll do the SA. Strength buff is gone. Just double check it here. Yep. Strength buff is gone. Light buff is there, but we don't really care. The strength buff is the one that's really going to do the damage. So here we go. Yosuga, Tribe Alpha, SA with Aisha and Snow Silver. Now, the interesting part is here, the SA does not remove the strength buff. It's only Geosurge. So at the end of this, we'll still have that 100% strength buff chilling on Aisha. So we're not worried about that at all. Okay, good hit there. Look at that. Very respectable hit. Alright. On this turn, I'm going to go ahead and do Rock Biter one more time. And we're just going to keep going. And this is why if you have Winter Haruhime, I love doing this because it's a no-brainer. On this turn, then, we're obviously going to do an SA. And if that doesn't kill him, which I don't think it will, on turn 10, we'll do Geosurge. So there are ways to make this go a tiny bit faster. But if I'm entirely honest, I mean, let's face it. You could use one of the units here in the end instead of the Winter Haruhime, one of the units that does 100% SA gauge charge. It might go a little bit faster, but you're losing some of the defensive buff. Your call if you want to try to do that. I don't think it's a wrong move. You probably could S-Clear it like that, but for me, I like a nice, smooth, easy, relaxing run that, where I could just scratch my ass, basically, in the middle of the fight and not worry about it. And notice we still have the 100% buff. We still are chilling with that buff. Bam. All right. Now, on this turn, we're going to do Geosurge. Now, we still have the 100% strength buff. That is gone on this turn, at least for Aisha. So we should be able to hit hard, and this should hit actually pretty close to as hard as her SA hit. Bam. Oh, only 400k and it didn't kill him. That's all right. Let's go ahead and do a special arts. She's not going to have her physical damage buff, but he did anyway. I'm a little surprised he didn't die last turn. Honestly, I'll be real. I think that might just come down to an RNG situation, but irrelevant. He most certainly did this turn. There you go, turn 11. So you could probably crank up the damage. And remember, my Aisha is only +1. If your Aisha is +2, my Aisha doesn't have a weapon ascended weapon. If yours is weapon ascended, there's so many situations in which you could actually clear this with the exact same team. Or, as I said before, replace Winter Haruhime with somebody that does 100% SA gauge charge. I didn't feel like doing that because I like the nice comfy run where I'm not taking any damage. You know, there's so many ways you could have done this otherwise and laughed at it. Pretty straightforward stuff. And as I said, that fight is designed for a dark unit. So if you have a dark unit, think about how much faster they'll kill that too. 1-6, guys. Go smack it. Just smack it on the posterior. Say, have a nice day. I'll take my I think that's the last one that does Ascension Fauna. I'll take my Ascension Fauna. Have yourself a very nice evening. That's going to be the video. Like, comment, share. I'll be back at you guys with 1-8 and 1-9 here. I don't know. I'm going to release these in like rapid succession this morning.